Hello and welcome to the November 2013 shop tour. As I record this, it is November 20th. I didn't want to record too early in the month because my October shop tour was done on, October 28th, October 30th, something like that. It was damn near the end of the month. I'm walking over here right now and going out of order a little bit because I want to show the thermometer that shows that it is, about 48 degrees, let's say, 46, 48, somewhere in there. Not the most impressive thing until you realize that, A, this air conditioner is still sitting in the window, and I can just feel the cold blowing in from the air conditioner right now. And B, that little heater has been turned off for the last week and a half. I just realized that I turned it off. Usually I leave it on a low setting, but it has been off. So I just turned it back on 2 minutes ago. So I'm actually rather impressed. The fact that today we had a high temperature of about 45 degrees, and at night it's been getting into the it's been dipping down below freezing at night for the past couple nights, and it's just been a cold week or so. So the fact that I'm in the high 40s with no heat, I'll take that as pretty good, because while I went crazy on the walls, there are still giant heat sinks like the air conditioner, which I just need to take out. I've been too lazy to do that, and the door, which is its own process. I've not bothered doing anything with the door. There are plenty of ways where you can take a standard garage door like this, gasket it a bit better on the outside, put more insulation on the inside, and it makes a big difference. But it's my plan to replace this with barn doors. So I will probably not bother doing anything to improve the door. Insulating the back of it is an hour or two's worth work, so maybe I will do that. I don't know. I'm talking myself into it as I shoot this video. But in any event, the garage is not yet done. There's still some big sinks, and it's pretty warm, so I'm pleased with that. Now to get to back to the actual tour, you're not going to have seen any real improvements since the October tour, though you do see my router table there. That was actually my first power tool. For my graduation present, graduating from college, I got a Porta-Cable 3-in-1 router, and it came with a 1.5 horse motor, a D-handle base, a plunge base, and this benchtop router table. And while it's not perfect, it's absolutely functional, and I have a much nicer router table set up with a lift and big motor and everything up in the attic that I still have to assemble. We're closer than ever, but still not there yet in terms of setting it up in the shop. But when I need a router table, I just bust this thing out, and it does what it has to. It's not pretty, it's not perfect, but it works. We got my table saw. Nothing new really over here. Bucket of clamps, a bucket of garbage. My pull-out cabinet. My hand tool cabinet seems to be open. Believe it or not, I do have a handful of planes. They're not all tuned up. I don't use them as often as many of you do, but I do own them, and I do use them every once in a while. I use that number 7, probably the most of all of them. I like it on side edges, but anyway. There's my tool cabinet open. I was pulling rasps out of it. I know that'll be a surprise. Come around here to the planer, my track saw. Got my ghetto boom arm set up over here, my work center. I love this as a rolling cart, and the fact that it's a rolling cart and a vacuum in one is very handy, but I will say having this platform in here made out of toolboxes is occasionally inconvenient when I need to get something in or out of those toolboxes. But up here we've got an assortment of sanders. And these are all up here being used on this current project, which is not a display rack for Nexabond, as nice as the Nexabond is, and I really do like the Nexabond glue. But, excuse me, this is my, I'll call it a bastardized ghetto, a bastardized shaker, not ghetto, shaker step stool. I took the rather well-known, I think at least, well-known shaker step stool design. I do even have the little arch on the bottom. And the tops are dovetailed together. These are 2 boards glued together. I've got a stretcher there in the back, a stretcher here in the front. I've seen some designs where they put a stretcher along the front lip, but this is a full 1 inch thick, so I'm choosing to think I don't need it. Maybe I'm wrong. But what you can see here is I'm working on rounding it and flaring it, and I'm really enjoying the look of dovetails, excuse me, when I round them over that way. That was something I did on my most recent quilt rack, and I thought it was a very successful part of the design. So I'm working on flaring all these edges and shaping it all. You see, I'm not going to say it's 100% successful, but it's getting there, and it's somewhat a design experiment also. I'm learning how to do all this rounding and flaring, and I'm thinking this inside corner would have been better if I glued in a little like triangle shaped block in there to then ease the flare a bit, because I'm trying to round this in, but then I'd have to recess this whole face and this whole face, and I need to build up some of these joints before I start rounding them over. But that's something I'm learning. This is going to go in my son's room. Not that that means it doesn't matter, but it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, and certainly I could put it in his room just like this and it would be appreciated. So work on this a little bit more. I'd hoped to have this done, but it's November 20th and I have some stuff I need to make for Christmas, so this stool may get set aside until after Christmas, and I'm hoping not to. I'm going to try to make one big push, but we shall see. Either way, that's the bench, or the stool rather, excuse me. Here's a piece of spalted, I want to say maple, I'm not 100% sure. It's spalted something I picked up the Long Island Woodworkers show. I don't think you can see the spalted nature of it in this video, but that's going to be a picture frame, or it's going to be more than a picture frame, but part of it's going to be a picture frame. We have this series of postcards, and I'm going to, just out of this block, just as it is, I'm going to cut out for the different postcards and make one, just take the slab essentially and make it into a multi-framed picture frame. That's a project I need to do actually before Christmas, but that's going to be pretty straightforward. Here we have the joiner behind this shelf, and the shelf is ultimately going to tie into the chop saw. Right now, it's just accumulating crap. I really need to get my butting gear and get the chop saw finally set up, and that'll clear up this cabinet, and then I need to find a home for the drill press and get this cabinet out of here. Those drawers will go underneath the chop saw and win that much more floor space, and I have many other things to put in it. So that's what's going on over here. And really not much has changed back here. We got the drill press, God, it's late. We've got the bandsaw inside that box, or the Carter guides that I bought out of frustration one night with the terrible, terrible performance of this saw. Someday I'll put them on. I'm just not motivated to mess with the saw right now, so that's going to come in a little bit. And then here, just to round it out, we've got the air conditioner that's letting in all the cold air, and my sheet goods. And in front of the sheet goods, you've got, kind of see how my design has evolved. You've got this one. That was the template for the first quilt rack. And then this one, which I can't actually move because it doesn't balance itself, is the template for the second quilt rack. And the second one got a giant drawer on the bottom which weights it and keeps it there. But anyway, that's the November shop tour. Some actual projects going on, nothing crazy, but no real work in the shop since the last tour, I don't think. But we keep making headway, and it's got to be a mix of working on the shop and actually working on projects, or what's the point of the shop? So that's where we stand in November, and by we I mean me. There's nobody else in the shop, but I hope your shop's coming along too. So until next month.